Have you ever played a shooter that makes you feel like...
Win the race, lights, camera, action, close the slate. When tables turn, I'm making records break. Father said the DJ, make a Cito skip the plate. Break it, check it.
Why are you still talking to me? Shut the fuck up!
The Finals is my favorite shooter game of all time. Its gameplay loop is completely unique and leads to some of the most intense firefights I've experienced in gaming. To me, the game is amazing and deserves much more attention than it gets. But at the same time, I think the Finals has a couple glaring issues that lead to tons of frustrating moments and are also probably the main reason it doesn't get as much widespread attention as other games. I personally have a couple friends who tried out the Finals, but ended up quitting because of some of these issues. So the questions I'm trying to answer today are, what are the Finals' biggest flaws, and is there anything that can be done to fix them without changing the game in ways that would make its biggest fans upset? Well, that's kind of a hard question, because the Finals' biggest flaws change depending on the game mode. First, we'll focus on Quick Cache, and then we'll get into World Tour and Ranked. But just to make sure everyone's on the same page, let me quickly explain how Quick Cache works. A game of Quick Cache has 3 teams, each with 3 players, and the first of these teams to get 2 cash outs wins the game. To get a cash out, your team has to unlock this vault, wait about 20 seconds, take the cash box that pops out of it, stick it in a cash out station, and finally defend it for 2 minutes. In Quick Cache, only 1 vault spawns at a time, meaning all 3 teams are fighting for a single thing. Oh no. In my opinion, the biggest issue with Quick Cache is that almost every fight feels unfair and chaotic because of third partying. For example, in this fight, my team is successfully holding off the orange team. However, right when my teammate finishes off the last orange guy, Pink appears out of nowhere, wipes us out, and successfully steals our cash out. This feels horrible to play against. Instead of being rewarded for winning a fair team fight, we're punished because we're all low on health, so Pink ends up having a big advantage. And to be honest, this will always be a problem if Quick Cache doesn't change. If there's an uneven amount of teams on the map, one of those teams is bound to have an advantage or disadvantage in every fight. So what is the solution? This might be a controversial idea, but just hear me out. I think the best way to fix this game would be to remove a team, make respawns quicker, and make cash outs quicker, but make it so you need to get 3 of them to win instead of 2. The first point's reasoning is pretty obvious. If there's only 2 teams, then there will be no third partying. But to make sure the game doesn't feel boring, respawns will also be quicker. If you didn't know, in quick play, respawn times can vary from 7 seconds all the way up to 30 seconds. To quickly explain how it works, if you're the first to die on your team, the game starts a sort of queue at 30 seconds, which your teammates join whenever they die. If the timer is under 7 seconds when your last teammate dies, then the timer just gets set back to 7. I think this is a cool mechanic, but if we're trying to make Quick Cache feel quick, then 30 seconds is way too long to wait. Dropping the timer to 15 seconds and keeping the 7-second minimum is a good way to keep the action going, especially since there'll be 1 less team on the map. Finally, I think cash outs should finish quicker, specifically 30 seconds quicker. Due to the faster player respawn times, if cash outs still took 2 minutes, the defending team would probably have to win an extra team fight to keep the cash out, which could end up feeling unfair. Like, imagine winning 3 team fights in a row while defending, but you lose 1 at the last second. Then the enemy team steals the cash out and wins. Anyways, at the same time, the required amount of cash outs to win should be increased to 3 so that the game doesn't end too quickly. In this new version of Quick Cache, the mode still achieves its goal of being more casual and fast-paced, while erasing the frustration of getting constantly third-partied. I think this would also make it a much more viable mode for warming up, because it would function like a faster version of the final rounds in Ranked and World Tour. If you have any more ideas for Quick Cache, or just think my ideas are stupid, please feel free to let me know in the comments. And with that out of the way, let's move on to the real meat and potatoes, Ranked and World Tour. For people who've never played the game before, World Tour and Ranked are similar to Quick Cache, except there are now 4 teams instead of 3, and 2 cash vaults instead of 1. Also, each cash out gives more money as the round goes on, and the 2 teams with the most money when the timer runs out go on to the next round. This does a good job at making third partying less common than it is in quick cash, since there's 2 teams per cash out instead of 3, but there's still some major issues with these modes that can be really frustrating. For this section, instead of just telling you the issues, I'm gonna walk you through a single round of World Tour that somehow touched on every major issue all at once. Let's go. The round began pretty favorably. We got to Vault 1 first, securing the $1,000 opening bonus, and then we won the fight against Purple, even though I fumbled horribly. But we don't talk about that.
He's won. He's about to die.
Dude, I fumbled. I threw. Okay, good, nice. After that, we started the cash out at A and successfully held off both the pink and purple teams getting the cash out. Nice. Okay, we're good. At around 5 minutes left in the game, we run over to Vault 4, grab the cash box, and start our second cash out. This cash out is pretty free, since the pink team only shows up in the last 10 seconds, so we successfully got our second cash out. However, unfortunately, Slenderman and I went down, so my brother Pierce had to spend some time reviving us. And then immediately after, the purple team flanked us, so we had to spend some more time catching our footing. That's when I realized. While one person on the purple team was flanking us, the other 2 grabbed the cash box and put it in cash out A. We had to lock in or it was over. Moving frantically, we managed to wipe out the purple team, and I make the decision to revive one of my teammates since it'd be too risky to steal the cash out alone. After the res, I run to the cash out and... Oh, wait, so we have to get this, I hear someone. Someone's here. Help me.
I'm coming.
There you go.
No! Dude! I was so fucking close. The pink team third parties me at the very last second. The rest of my team tries to pull off the steal, but with me down, they lose the 2v3. With 30 seconds on the clock, things aren't looking too good. But it gets even worse. Well, at least this is an example of a game I can use in my YouTube video where I complain about this game.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is the biggest problem with the finals. This is literally the biggest problem with the finals. And we got spawned at the bad cash out. Okay, perfect example. Okay, let's back up and summarize. We have a commanding lead in both our gunplay and strategy. The whole time, we've played the objectives correctly and nailed 2 cash outs. We got the bonuses from opening the vaults and starting the cash outs too. But at the very last second of the game, we lose one single fight against pink and it loses us the game. How is it fair that this is what our matchup against pink and purple look like, but we still managed to lose? I understand that we could have probably played a little bit better towards the end of the game. If I stole the cash out first and then rezzed my teammate afterwards, we might have had a better chance at winning. But even so, the mere fact that it's possible to lose while having such a commanding lead for the first 8 minutes of the game is so frustrating to me. And then, to make matters worse, when we respawn, we don't even have a chance to fight back because we get spawned so far away on the opposite cash out. This problem happens a lot right now, and I'm not sure if it's because the devs changed how respawning works, or if I'm just getting unlucky. But in literally our next game, a similar issue happened, but it was even worse. And we're probably gonna get respawned on C. Please don't get respawned.
We get respawned on C.
Yep.
What
Nice.
Please, for the love of God, explain to me, why does the game see how short the timer is on cash out C and decide, yeah, I'll spawn them there? Okay, that was a lot of complaining, but I think I made some decent points. I understand that the finals is an insanely complicated game, so fixing these issues will be hard. However, I still think something needs to be done. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, I have a few friends who literally stopped playing the game because they were so frustrated at how they could be dominating the other teams, then lose one fight and get eliminated. So how do we fix this? Let's start with the less complicated issue, respawning on a nearly completed cash out. All the devs have to do to fix this is make it so that when there's, I don't know, less than 20 seconds on the cash out timer, it puts your team in one of 2 places. 1, at the other cash out, or 2, if there isn't another cash out or there's already 2 teams on it, you get put somewhere around the middle of the map. I'm sure there would need to be some testing to adjust the remaining time needed on the cash out timer for this to take effect, but in both cases, this provides a much better respawning experience than how it is right now. Now onto the harder issue. How do we make it so this incident can't happen anymore? The simplest way to decrease the likelihood of that happening would be to make it so that your team gets bonus money if you wipe another team, as long as your team killed at least 2 of the 3 people on that team. For example, if you kill 2 purples and then orange kills the last one, your team still gets the bonus for doing most of the work. And to prevent issues related to defibs and revivals, if the person your team killed gets rezzed, it subtracts 1 from the hidden kill count that regulates who gets the bonus. I think this bonus could be worth an extra $1,000, so if you get a full team wipe, instead of getting 1,500, you get 2,500. This change rewards you for performing well against other teams without just increasing the amount of money you get per kill. If each kill was worth too much, then you'd be incentivized to let the enemy team keep resurrecting each other so you could farm them for money. Now that change on its own won't make a significant difference in your money earned, but when paired with my next suggestion, I think it'd be noticeable. My next idea is to just make the last 2 vaults give a little bit less money. As it currently stands, here's how much money each vault rewards. Don't get me wrong, I understand why the devs have it set up like this. If each vault was worth the same amount, coming back at the end would be basically impossible, so people on losing teams would just give up. But for the third wave of vaults to be worth more than double the first is a little unfair in my opinion. I think a slight adjustment from 22,000 to 20,000 would be enough to make things feel more fair, while still keeping comebacks possible. My goal with these changes isn't to neuter the chaos of the finals. The game's chaos is what makes it incredibly fun and unique. I just think there's a few aspects of the game that are overly frustrating, and I wanted to try and come up with some ideas I thought could help smooth out those bad experiences. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my thoughts, and be sure to subscribe for more Embark related video essays. Peace.